Okay, Lugnuts, here we go. This is the 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EUV. This is their slightly bigger, expanded version of the standard Bolt. They like to call it a crossover, but it's still a hatchback, which I prefer. I like hatchbacks. We're going to be having a little drive today, and I'll sort of walk you guys through the interior real quick. We start with the steering wheel, naturally, which keeps pulling to the right. It is leather wrapped, made from really, really nice materials. And you've got this little, I don't know what you call it, visor looking thing here. And then the sensor, that's part of the Super Cruise, which is their semi-autonomous self-driving system, which this particular model comes equipped with. We'll give that a test drive a little later on. We've got on the doors, it's all soft touch for the most part. Leather? I don't know if it's leatherette on the door trims, etc. And on the dashboard here, again, soft touch. At least it's not hard plastic, which is always nice. And yeah, and then that brings us to the infotainment system, which is a really nice, simple infotainment system. It's very intuitive. You have volume buttons. You have the home button, which is really important because that's sort of wherever you are in the system, that'll drag you right back to good, and then you can start all over once you get confused. And yeah, that takes us to the we've got Apple CarPlay, we've got all the settings. This, of course, is a fully electric vehicle, so you can tinker with all the charging stuff. This will tell you your energy consumption, all that. We all become efficiency freaks when we drive electric cars. So all that information is there at your disposal. I largely ignore most of it unless I'm running out of electricity. And then you've got, as I said, wireless Apple CarPlay, which is really, really nice. You drop below here, you have HVAC controls or environmental controls. This particular model has heated and ventilated seats up front, which is really nice. You get a heated steering wheel as well, which is currently not on. Shame on me. And below that, you get the wireless charging pad, which is also a nice feature to have. You have the button to take off the ESP. That's the sport drive mode. And this is lane position. I can't remember what that button does. But yeah, so you've got sort of driver functions there. Moving on, we don't have a shifter. No shifter, which makes me sad. But in place of that, we have buttons and toggles. Not just buttons, but toggles, which is sort of, I'll put my foot on the brake. So we're currently in park, of course. There's your e-brake as standard. And then if you want to go into reverse, hit reverse, camera pops up, you're good to go. The camera system, it must be noted, you get a 360 view, and then, excuse me, ran out of voice, and then you're, in this particular case, the rear view camera. And it's quite clear, it's good, I've seen far worse on various models, looking at you, Nissan, and then you can pop it back into park, or you can pop it into drive, which, and then there's this little button here, which is currently green, which means it's on, and that's the OneDrive button. That is my personal favorite. I have recently discovered OneDrive, and it is absolutely fabulous. And moving on, we have, let me hoist myself out of the way. We've got a couple of standard cup holders, central cabinet, where I keep my wallet, which I will forget later, and that is about it. It is a very basic interior. We do get leather seats. I think these are leather. I think Chevy says they're leather. I believe them. It's fine. It's not my preferred color, so I certainly hope that black or something. Well, it will be black. Is an option because I would prefer that to this blue thing they have going on here. But it does. It looks okay. It feels okay so far. I've been in this thing for about an hour. And yeah, I mean, this is sort of my theme for this little review is that this is a practical, everyday commuter car. This is the Toyota Corolla, the Honda Civic, this Chevy Cavalier of my youth. You know, this is the normal, everyday, affordable sort of car that people will buy. And I really do think it's important. You know, the price point allows greater access. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't come with 1,000 horsepower, but did we know we needed 1,000 horsepower before Tesla gave it to us? Who knows, right? I mean, you know, just to get to work and back and go to the grocery store and take the kids to sports, this will get the job done. There's no arguing that. While we're here, before we get started with the drive, let's take a look at the back seats. As we hop out, key is, yeah, it's right there, perfect. Let's take a look at the back seats, and then we will work our way around. So in the back, excuse me. So excuse me. Who am I saying excuse me to? Anyway, this obviously driver's seat, plenty of leg room. Now it should be noted for reference, I am 5'8" and short of leg. But nevertheless, I think even tall people would be doing just fine for space in here. Leg room at any rate. Headroom's a little limited in the back, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I don't find it to be at all uncomfortable back here. We get heated seats in the back, which are controlled right there, which is nice. So I'll turn those off because it wastes the battery. And then, yeah, you get a power window switch, and that's about it. Wow, that's a fast window. Look at that. That moves at a good clip, doesn't it? Fantastic. Okay, anyway, we also get, well, that's about it. Yeah, we get seats and seat belts, and that's all. We get some USB ports. I almost missed that, but otherwise, that's about it. She's pretty basic. Do we still call cars she? I hope so. I don't want to offend anybody, but this is the internet age. Everybody's offended all the time. So to the back area, we get space, regular, everyday hatchback type space. Ignore my stuff occupying that space. Yeah, it's useful. I don't know what more you'd need. You can go grocery shopping at any time. You don't have to put seats down, and yeah, you get everything you need. If you go to IKEA or Costco, well, put the back seats down, and you'll find yourself more space. So I find that a perfectly serviceable, functional cargo area in the back. Would like it noted, we are getting this is a extremely flimsy cargo cover. It in a way, I almost prefer this to the piece of cardboard they typically give us. But yeah, we've got string and little plastic pegs, and that is about it. So there you go. We're on a budget here, folks, but that's okay. We're obsessed with more. So this is a return to normalcy. So let's take a step back, and this is the Bolt EUV specifically. This is midnight blue, I think is what they call that color. It is pretty good looking, actually. A lot of people object to the look of this car. I don't know why that is. I don't mind it. I think it has a decent shape. I don't like all the bare plastics on the outside, but that's an old gripe of mine, and I seem to be losing that battle. It's like the manufacturers don't listen or don't care. Go figure. And the nose is all right. You've got the sort of standard EV grille, mostly closed in, other than the camera, of course. And yeah, it's got sleek headlights. I like that. It's not ugly. Chevy is guilty of producing some pretty ugly vehicles in recent years, and this is not one of them. This is a decent looking car for sure. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Shall we go for a drive? See what that's like? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, here we are. We're on the road. We're taking the Chevy Bolt for a drive. First impressions, I've been behind the wheel for about an hour and a half now, and it drives like a car, like any other car for the most part, although I am using one pedal drive at the moment, which I really enjoy. I'm really happy that this car comes with that system. I was driving the Volvo C40 Recharge recently, where I was largely introduced to one pedal driving, and I am a convert. It is a very intuitive way to drive a car. I really enjoyed that, and this is an extension of that. This does not brake as hard as the Volvo. The Volvo truthfully felt like it was ripping your face off every time you took your foot off the gas, but this one is not as hard as that, and it will bring you to a complete stop and then sort of drift back a touch, but it does function as you would hope a one pedal drive system would, and really makes the brakes, your actual like regular braking system is there just for holy crap emergency times. Other than that, you don't really need it, and that is really nice. Seating position is good. I find the seats relatively comfortable. They're not padded or bolstered in a way that you're going to be held in a lap of luxury, and I don't know how they'd hold up over 12 hours. But they're not designed for that. This whole car is not designed for that kind of drive. It's purely a city car, and in that regard, driving around to work and back, etc., I think it's perfectly comfortable. The driving position is good. You have relatively easy access. I do find myself snaking around the steering wheel a bit to get to the volume button there, but in a wonderful bit of old school design, you do get button toggles behind here. This is volume and this is track selection for music. So that's nice. I like that. We don't see a lot of that anymore. It's usually paddle shifters behind here. I'd laugh my ass off. I was just thinking, I wonder why they didn't put paddle shifters in here. And it's like, yeah, it's electric, Tracy. Jeez. All right, so we're on the highway here, and we're going to give Adapt Super Cruise a go. Never used the system before, so this should be interesting because I get confused by things. Yeah, it's hands-free while you're on the highways. It is, I guess they call it geofenced or whatever. You can only use it when you're on the highways. So we got to turn on the cruise control and then hit... Oh, you know, sorry, got to set my speed. There we go. And now you turn on, you hit that button, and the steering wheel goes right here, goes green, and you are hands off. See? Chubby hands. Oh, and it's blinking at me. That can't be good. It is, yeah, see? It is finicky. Very, very finicky. So let's try it again. Turn my speed up a bit here, and then hit the button. Super Cruise unavailable. Okay. One more time, and then I'm going to say, nope, not doing it. Okay, there it is. Foot is off the gas. See, my leg is moving. It's, here we go. Okay. Well, this is what happens when I try new things. Okay, so cruise control works fine. Super Cruise, I don't know, we're being picky today. I have heard of some finicky issues with it, trying to get it to pick up exactly where you are. There we go. So Super Cruise is in, and you see this tells you where you're good to go. All right, this is going to require some research, but I have to get off the highway here, so it will have to wait for later. All right, so Super Cruise is a fail. I'm not for the system itself, but just my ability to use it, and I shall do some research. So this 2023 Bolt starts around $43,000 Canadian, and this particular model, as tested, comes with tops out at just under $50,000, $49,000 and change, which I mean is no small amount of money. But when it comes to electric cars, I mean that's about as cheap as it gets. Its primary competitors would be the Korean twins, the Soul, and the Kona from Hyundai and Kia. So in terms of fully equipped EVs in this range, that's what you're looking at. There aren't a lot of them, and I think this car truly is important in that regard. You know, if we're ever going to get full adoption or mass adoption of EVs, sort of on the everyday, cars like this matter. Not everybody can afford Teslas and, you know, fancy Volvos and all the German stuff and all that. I certainly can't. You know, cars like this is what we drove. You know, when I was a kid, I mean, we drove Corollas, we drove Civics, we drove Cavaliers when they were working, you know, all that. Just kidding, teasing. You know, these are everyday cars, cars that are attainable for normal everyday people. You know, I'm not sure about the battery thing. You know, I don't know. Electric drive is the future. I'm fully on board with that idea. I don't think batteries are where we're going to get the juice from. That being said, you know, what do I know? But this thing is designed for, basically, it's set up to, if you get level 2 charging at home, which I believe Chevy is paying for right now. They're covering a basic installation of a level 2 charger in your home, both in Canada and the US. And that is a wonderful little perk, because it's, you know, a couple of $1,000 to get that thing set up and running in your house. But that will charge this car from basically 0 to 100 in about 8 or 9 hours, which is perfect. You know, you plug it in at night, it's dead, and then in the morning it's fully charged, and that's it. You don't have to worry about commercial charging. Commercial charging, I don't know what it's like where you live. Commercial charging here in the greater Vancouver area of British Columbia is a bit of a joke. It is a little bit of a disaster. I struggle mightily with finding places to charge these cars when I get them on test. It really is a tough one. You know, I went to 2 DC chargers today to put some juice in this thing, and one was only giving me 13 kilowatt hours, and the other one was broken. you know, and everything else is super slow charging, you know, like plugging it in at home, and that would take days and days to charge this thing fully. So that's not a practical option. So, you know, but I mean, again, right, it speaks to the purpose behind which this vehicle was built. You know, it's designed for everyday commuting, charge it at home, and you're off and running. And in that regard, it works really, really well. I enjoy this car. It has, you know, it has some cost-cutting features attached to it, but overall, it's actually a really, really decent drive. And, you know, I mean, you still get 200 horsepower, you still get 265 pound-feet of torque, if I remember the number correctly. And it's, you know, that's more than we used to get out of the old Corolla, I'll tell you that. So yeah, moving forward, I hope we see more cars like this, smaller cars, practical cars that, you know, normal everyday people drive. And that will speed along the electrification of our world, as it were. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us this particular time around. This is actually, in case you hadn't noticed, my first video. I will continue to work on on all my uhs and ahs. I'm sorry about those. I really am. That is a really bad personal habit of mine, and I'm going to really try and fix that moving forward. Nevertheless, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, taken some value from it, and we will see. There it is. We will see you on the next one. Have a good day.